Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to go through part 2 of the review. And I know we did number 1 in class, but I'm going to go through it one more time just because I know it's been a struggle for you guys. Again, follow along with what I do. Whatever I'm writing here are the steps in the shown work that I would like you to also be doing. And I want this brought back tomorrow, and I'll pick these up before the test to see, are we actually doing this? Because I want to see what kind of an effort are you putting into your studying for the test. All right, gosh, I don't even know how to say that. Jackarom bought 3 new t-shirts for $12.50 each being a keyword to multiply, and a jacket for $22.98. The sales tax rate is 6.5%. And if you see that, I know I've told you never to turn things into decimals, but in this case, just go ahead and make that 6.5%. How much tax will Jackarom pay on these items? All right, I showed you 2 ways in class for this. I'm gonna show you 2 ways again on this paper because I think repetition is helpful. But the very first thing we need to do is find our total. And this is doing our what method. We have 3 shirts, $12.50 each. The reason why I like you doing the information is because sometimes I've noticed we forget that there are 3 shirts and we just look at the 1 shirt. We just look at $12.50 and not multiply it by 3 because we didn't look at it and take that into consideration. So I want you writing however many there are of each. I got 1 jacket for $22.98. First thing we need to do is multiply our shirts because it's 3 shirts for $12.50 each. So I need to figure out the total of all of those shirts. So I'm going to do that right over here. $12.50 times 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and 3 times 1 is 3. There are 2 places to add a decimal, so I have $37.50. I'm going to add that to my jacket. I get 8, that's 14, that's 10, that's 7. So my total is $70.48. Notice my first step, I need my H, is add my total. That's step 1, or that's the how we're going to solve it. And then we're going to multiply by our tax. The multiplying by our tax rate, that's the one that's giving you all the biggest issue. I know that. So here are the 2 different ways of solving this. You can either multiply just straight up our total that we found right here by our tax rate if we move the decimal over 2 times, which to me is the most simple, but I know that's been giving people some issues. So I'm going to do that right here on the left. 70.48 times 0.065. And we just need to multiply. 5 times 8 is 40. That's 20, 24. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. And 5 times 7 is 35. When I'm done with that digit, I got to go on to the next one. But since this is the tens place, I'm going to put a 0 in the ones place and start at the tens place. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28 again. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 6 times 7 is 42. Now I'm done with that. I don't really need another row because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So this last digit isn't really necessary. So I'm going to add all this up. And I got this big number here. But what is missing? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right of the decimal. So I move over 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My tax is $4.58 because money only goes to 2 decimal places. So I would round this, the rest of it, either up or down. And in this case, it rounds down. So it's $4.58. Okay, that's one way. That's the way I've shown you more often than not. The other way is through a proportion. And I think why this one is helpful is because you don't have to move the decimal at all. You can just put 6.5 and all percents are out of 100. So it's 6.5 out of 100. We're trying to find the tax rate. That's what's on top. And the bottom is my total that I calculated earlier. And then I cross multiply. So I'd multiply this and I'd divide by 100 after. So 70.48 times 6.5. It's actually gonna get me the same numbers, then my decimal place is just gonna be different. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 4 is 20, plus the 4 that we carried over is 24. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2, and that's 35. I'm going faster because I already did the math here, just showing you what happens when you don't move the decimal. 6 times 8 is 48, carry my 4. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2, and that's 42. Notice how my numbers are the exact same thing here as they are here. The only thing that's different is our decimal places. That's 11, that's 8, 5, 4. And I got 1, 2, 3 numbers to the decimal, so 1, 2, 3. And then I gotta divide this by 100. And that's 4. I'm about to run out of room. I get 58 remaining, and so I bring down my 1, that's 581. 100 goes into 581 5 times. Gosh, I'm out of room. I'll get 500 with the remainder of 81. Bring down your 2. So it's 812. And that goes in there 8 times. I'm going to go ahead and stop there because we'll have a couple more decimal places. And notice how my numbers match. I know that you can barely see that at all, but that's $4.58. My answer here is $4.58. That's a match. Pick which one you like. You will see a question on this on the test. I showed you both of these today during review time. Just pick one. Pick one and stick with it because we got to get this down. Number 2, Victoria has 3½ cups of milk. She's making mashed potatoes that call for 2 3/4 cups of milk. She also needs 4 cups of milk for a dinner roll recipe. How much more milk does Victoria need to make mashed potatoes and dinner rolls? All right, a lot of people miss this on the test, on our last test. You got to understand what is the question asking, and how would you know that if you didn't assess what the question is telling us? I have 3½ cups already. I'll change that to half. I have 3½ cups already. I need 2 3/4 and 4 more cups for the dinner rolls. The question is saying how much more milk So what I need to do is see how much do I need here. So that's my first step, is I'm going to add how much I need. And then subtract from what I have. Which is 3.5. So then we can just work. 2 3/4 plus 4 is simply 6 3/4. That's how much I need. This is how much I need. I already have 3.5. So all I gotta do is subtract to figure out how much more I'm gonna have to go to the store and buy, because if I need this much and I only have this much, I need to get some more. With fractions, we have to find a common denominator, which in this case is 4. If you didn't know that, you can use our little T-chart. Count by your 2's, count by your 4's, until you get a match. So in this case, it's 4. I have to multiply 2 by 2 to get to 4. So I need to multiply my numerator also by 2. So this is now 6 3/4 minus 3 2/4. And that is simple subtraction there. Morning. All right, number 3, Tyree rented a bike for $4 fee plus $9 per hour. Tyree spent exactly $31. Which equation can be used to determine the total number of hours that Tyree rented the bike? We're trying to find the equation. I think you're actually pretty good at this one, so I'm not too concerned about this on the test. Hopefully you'll prove me right. We're looking for keywords here. Per is a keyword to multiply. It did not tell me how many hours that I rented the bike. So that's what we call X, or in this case they use the letter H, so I'm going to use H as well. That is 9 times H plus a $4 fee. Fees only happen one time. It's called a constant. And you add it to your total cost. If I spent exactly $31, then that's exactly 31. Look at that match right there. Boom. See. All right. Number 4 is one you have to think about. You have to take this one question at a time in order to solve it. You need to know that this 20 is my constant, which means it happens one time. This is something that I multiply by. And this is my total. That's what each part of the equation means. Taylor picked 20 apples out of an orchard. Her friends gave her another 50. What is A, the number of apples Taylor has altogether? According to this one, it says I have 20. Then I got 50 more, giving me 70. I can solve that all by itself. I don't need a variable with that. That one's wrong because it doesn't tell me anything about, first off, the total is 70, not 50. That's wrong. And it doesn't tell me anything about 5 that I need to multiply by 5. Taylor picked 50 apples at an orchard. She used 5 apples to bake a pie and another 20 apples to make applesauce. How much does she have left? All right, so if I had 50, I used 5, I'd subtract 5, and I used another 20. I'd subtract 20 more, and that would give me 25. That has nothing to do with this equation, so that's not a good answer either. Taylor picked 50 apples at an orchard.